Credit rating agency Moody's downgraded Lebanon's government issuer ratings to CA from CAA2 and changed the outlook to stable amid concerns the country might be forced to restructure its massive debt. Lebanon is experiencing its worst economic and financial crisis since the end of the 1975 to 1990 civil war. The situation deteriorated after nationwide protests broke out in mid-October against the ruling elite blamed for decades of corruption and mismanagement. In recent months, the local currency that had been pegged to the dollar since 1997 lost some 60% of its value on the black market. The global dirty money watchdog placed Iran on its blacklist after it failed to comply with international anti-terrorism financing norms, a move that will deepen the country's isolation from financial markets. The decision came after more than 3 years of warnings from the Paris-based Financial Action Task Force (FATF), urging Tehran to either enact terrorist financing conventions or see its review from the blacklist lifted and some countermeasures imposed. These would entail more scrutiny of transactions with Iran, tougher external auditing of financing firms operating in the country, and extra pressure on the few foreign banks and businesses still dealing with Iran. Lebanon confirmed its first coronavirus case and said it was monitoring 2 other potential cases after a 45-year-old woman arriving from Iran tested positive. Addressing a news conference, Lebanese Health Minister Hamad Hassan said the patient was taken directly to isolation from a plane arriving from the Iranian city of Qom on Thursday after exhibiting symptoms of the virus. The patient is being quarantined at Rafiq Hariri University Hospital in Beirut, and 2 other individuals from the Qom flight and suspected of carrying the virus will be transferred to the hospital for quarantine as well. The current crisis of governance in Iraq reflects a deeper one revolving around the question of Iraq's ability to return to the country it was before the US and Iranian invasions. Iran's hegemony is being challenged as protests continue to rock in different Iraqi cities, including the cities that the Iranians had considered to be under their control. The current crisis is a natural consequence of the original crisis. Algerians flooded the capital streets to mark the first anniversary of a protest movement that has forced the president to quit but still clamors for the complete overhaul of the political system. Protesters had called on Algerians to mobilize to disqualify the system's agenda of self-renewal and to lay the foundations for a new republic. A year ago, on February 22nd, Algerians took to the streets to demonstrate against the lying president Abdelaziz Bouteflika's bid for a 5th term and have kept up their protests since. A British woman who supported IS pleaded guilty to 2 terrorism offences, including plotting to bomb St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Sofia Amira Sheikh, who is 36 years old, from Middlesex in southeast England, admitted to the preparation of terrorist acts and dissemination of terrorist publications. Prosecutors said that Sheikh made contact with someone who could prepare explosives and went on a reconnaissance trip to scope out the historic site. Iran's health ministry reported 2 more deaths among 13 new cases of coronavirus in the country, bringing the total number of deaths to 4 and infections to 18. The announcement came as the health ministry official said the virus has spread to several Iranian cities. The newly reported cases included 7 in Qom, 4 in Tehran, and 2 in Jailand. There were growing fears among Iraqis after 4 people infected with coronavirus died in Iran, raising calls for shutting down the border with Iran. Calls for closing the border come amid Iraq's fragile healthcare system, coupled with fears that the authorities would fail to take measures to prevent coronavirus cases in the country. Local authorities in Basra directed border crossings and health departments in the province to ban Iraqis or Iranians from entering through Shalamacha to Basra before undergoing health checks. Russia began to use its military power to enforce the deployment of Syrian regime forces in the northwest province of Idlib and to halt an attack by Turkish-backed Syrian factions which planned to advance towards the town of Nerab. The Russian Defense Ministry said pro-Ankara militants backed by Turkish artillery fire breached the defenses of the Syrian army near the villages of Kaminas and Nerab in Idlib. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova expressed concerns over such support for militants from the Turkish armed forces. United Nations support mission in Libya said Libya's warning sides have resumed talks in Geneva aimed at brokering a lasting ceasefire in the country. UN Libya envoy Ghassan Salam launched a second round of military talks on Tuesday with 5 senior officers from the GNA and 5 negotiators representing Libyan National Army LNA Commander Khalifa Haftar. The first round of military talks ended with no result earlier this month, but Salam said there was more hope this time, mainly because of the approval of a UN Security Council resolution calling for a lasting ceasefire. The head of the Israeli Army's Northern Command, Major General Amir Baram, has warned the Lebanese militia that it would pay a heavy price for its provocations against Israel. He threatened to hit Iran, the Lebanese capital Beirut, and villages in southern Lebanon, which is Hezbollah's stronghold. His threats came after militia was accused of violating UN Security Council Resolution 1701 that set out the ceasefire terms between Israel and Lebanon following the 2006 war. The Tunisian parliament has set a date to vote over Elias Fakfak's government, which will see 3 new ministerial portfolios. The new cabinet will be composed of 30 ministers and a secretary of state. Fakfak has announced that after months of consultations, an agreement was reached with political parties, on top of them the Nahda movement, which ruled out the option of early elections. The government should garner an absolute majority 50% plus 1 in order to get the parliament's confidence. The agreement has made this possible. The Arab Coalition's spokesperson Colonel Turki Al-Maliki said in a statement, the Royal Air Defense Forces have intercepted several ballistic missiles launched by the Iranian-backed Houthi militia from the Yemeni capital Sana'a, targeting cities in the kingdom. The statement said that 3 missiles were launched in a deliberate and systematic manner in order to target cities and civilians in Saudi Arabia, describing the attack as a flagrant violation of international humanitarian law. Al-Maliki assured that the coalition will continue to apply and implement all decisive and rigorous measures in accordance with international humanitarian law to protect coalition states' nationals and expatriates from such barbaric attacks. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo concluded his 3-day visit to Saudi Arabia and headed to Oman in his last stop in the Middle East. Pompeo extended his thanks to the custodian of the 2 holy mosques, King Salman, for his efforts to end the conflict in Yemen, saying Saudi Arabia remains a strong and enduring partner. The Secretary's meetings with the Saudi leadership notes the strong and enduring 75-year partnership between Saudi Arabia and the United States. Iran went to the polls for a general election that conservatives are expected to dominate amid voter apathy after an economic slump, multiple crises, and the disqualification of thousands of candidates. The 11th parliamentary election since the 1979 Islamic Revolution comes after steadily escalating tensions between Iran and the United States and the accidental downing of a Ukrainian airliner by Iranian air defenses that sparked anti-government protests. As he cast the first ballot in the election, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei urged all Iranians to take part, saying that doing so would guarantee the country's national interests.